Hey everyone, Jason Swanson here, your Community Mortgage Pro. Just providing you with a quick, less than 5 minute update on what's going on at home buying these days. So I have this article here from the Mortgage News Daily that I had come across this morning, and I had read it by an author, Jan Swanson, again, one of my favorite authors. And she came up with this article, did some research called Home Buyers Frustrated by More Competitive Bidding. And I wanted to share it with you all. If you all have been looking at properties in the last few months, you've probably encountered this. I know I have plenty of borrowers that are just fighting this uphill battle. And I want to be kind of that word of encouragement that just stick it out. The properties will come. The market is, spring and summer is coming and tend to produce more homes out on the market. So this article in summary, just the quarterly housing trends survey conducted by the National Association of Home Builders found that 69% of those actively seeking to buy a home have spent as much as 3 months looking for a home. And that's fairly historic in the survey's history, that the number one reason for the protracted time frame wasn't because the potential buyers couldn't find an affordably priced home, although that made up for about a third of third of the reason, but they continue to be outbid by others. So nearly 40% say they continue to be outbid by others. I can tell you, I had a borrower, that had submitted an offer competing against 24 other offers on a property. Now that was the DC area. As you get closer to DC, you're going to have a little more volume, I think, in traffic on offers. As you get further away from some of these metropolises, you probably have a little less to compete with, but still competition nonetheless. So it was looking at the last 2 quarters of 2020, and then of course this first quarter, and going into 2021. And it talks about the responses in the Q4 2020 survey is a reversal of those in a year, comparatively to a year earlier in the fourth quarter of 2019. 44% said it was unaffordable pricing holding them back from their purchases, and only 19 cited bigger offers from other people. So you kind of see that shift from 19 to 20 in that final quarter. And then they also go on to say, have a good statistic here for reasons active buyers have been unsuccessful finding a home to buy within that 3 months. And some of the data points to: can't find a home at a price I can afford, can't find a home with features I want, can't find a home in a neighborhood I want, and then I get outbid by other offers. And when I look at the chart here, and I'll post it in the comments below, I see that about 19%, started off 19%, going back to 18, in the low 19% range, all the way up to now 40% are saying that going into Q4 of 2020. So there's been a fairly steady incline over the last 2 years, with people having a hard time just competing with other offers. Now, that's a little different than where it says I can't find a home at a price I can afford. That started off in the mid to high 40 percentile. Now it's down to the 30s, low 30s. So it's not that houses are through the roof priced. It's just the competition, and that is a little different than what we've seen over the years. So it's not like a completely inflated housing economy. It's just there's those extra bids. People are coming in a little hotter to get that house that they want. So, and this just looks at the last 2 years. So again, I think that kind of helps us understand some of the dynamics at play, and hopefully as the spring and summer kicks in and more housing comes to market, that'll balance back out in a buyer's favor. And then the other one I wanted you to consider, the other statistic that I'll post as well, is that half of those long-term lookers say they will continue looking for a home in the same area if they are not successful soon, while 38% say they will expand their search area. And this is a conversation that I have with my borrowers, is if you're looking in the same area, again, pointing to, I'm in the DC area, if you're down in Montgomery County, I mean, it's going to be a pretty competitive market down there. And I always ask them, have you thought about expanding your search just a little bit? So it may still be in Montgomery County, but just towards the outskirts. It may be, you get towards like a Poolsville, you stretch out just some of the cities beyond the immediate kind of metropolitan area. Frederick, Baltimore, you start expanding away from, let's say, DC or any other major city that you might have to deal with. Baltimore obviously is pretty competitive as well, but I don't think it's as competitive as the DC market when it comes to being outbid. So 28% gave that response that they might give up, and return to the market next year. So don't give up quite yet. With the spring market and the summer market coming, there's going to be a lot more homes coming to market that you'll have the opportunity to take a look at. So just be a little patient, and I think you'll be surprised with what comes out. And then some of the other statistics that the share of prospective home buyers looking for 3 months that will give up. Again, statistically going back the last 2 years, Q1 of 18, about 13% just gave up. And now that we're, had just gone through Q4 of 2020, about 28% of home buyers after looking for 3 months just gave up. And one of the things that I would just ask you to do is again, I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy making those offers on those homes and just having what feels like your heart being ripped out. That's not easy. I get it. And it's frustrating driving all around town. But if you're thinking about the long game, if you're thinking about stability for your family, if you're thinking about the investment, investing in your future versus paying rent, generally speaking, that's going to be a much better opportunity for you long term. And I've had borrowers that say, I'm just going to rent the next 2 years. And I got to tell you, it's a little scary. I mean, there's certainly circumstances in which you got to think about renting. Maybe you're just uncertain where you're going to move, where you're going to live with your family, where you're going to work, those types of things. But think about the money you throw away effectively on paying someone else's mortgage for 2 years. I mean, that could easily set you back $50,000. So when it comes to, I'm just going to wait another year or two to buy a house, well, I don't know if that is the best strategy. It might be something you at least want to discuss with a professional and look at options to discuss some of the pros and cons and the financial repercussions of making that kind of decision. So interest rates will change, home prices will change, but one thing's a fact: if you're paying rent, for example, is that you're going to just have higher cost of rent. And it's not going to help you build any wealth or help you build equity. So something to keep in mind. I thought that article was pretty powerful, especially the folks that kind of just give up. And again, I can appreciate that. It's frustrating. But let's talk about just expanding the area, talk to your agent, and talk to that professional and see what other options might be available. Maybe you up that offer on the house and get a little more aggressive. So comes out to about $4 or $5 per thousand. And if you have to go 5 or 10,000 over asking, budget-wise, it may not be that hard for you. So let's have that discussion. Hopefully this article provided you some insight. Feel free to leave comments or reach out to me, DM me if you have any questions. If I can be any assistance, I'm here for you. And I'll post some of those images down below so you can kind of see the graphs I was using, along with a link to the article if you want to take a look. So thanks again for watching. Hopefully this has been a quick 8 minutes for you, and I look forward to helping you in the future. Talk to you soon. Thanks.